Well, I am so excited and happy to be here with Jill Orton. She is the Red Cross Regional Executive for our area. Jill, it's so good to see you again, and welcome back.
Oh, thanks, Andy, for asking me to be here today. It's always my pleasure to be able to chat with you and our audience today.
Um, my gosh, there's so much going on, and I'm going to just take a quick kind of go back through history, just a couple years, because I think we talked 2 years ago when all the flooding was happening in our community, which was devastating, and the Red Cross really, I mean, you're our go-to organization to help so many people that are hit with that kind of devastation.
That is what we do, and we're aligned to be able to scale up from that very community-based single-family fire all the way to this very immense, devastating across the entire state and into other states, these big disasters. And so that is what our amazing workforce does.
Yeah, and you guys are always on the front lines. Your front lines then, and then a year ago, COVID-19 hit, and so many families were dealing with a lot of and still are, but there's so much devastation in the impact of what happens in the community. And I know the Red Cross continues to just do so much for so many. So let's just talk a little bit about the pandemic and how the Red Cross and what you're doing for those families or organizations in the community.
Well, the Red Cross mission doesn't change. Our whole mission is about alleviating human suffering in the face of emergencies. And so single-family fires, multifamily fires still occur. We're still training our volunteers to do those responses. But what looks different is it's more like this, Andy. It's more having the conversation virtually with our clients. It's learning to use technology. It's learning to be able to make sure that we're doing preparedness in a different type of environment and learning new skills and training volunteers that may not have used technology in the past to use these tools to stay safe, to stay well. But our mission continues on. We continue to do what we do, just in different ways. We're also have our blood donations. It is one of the most critical things that people can do. And also, the donation of blood and plasma, because convalescent plasma has become one of the helping agents, and not a cure, but helps people get better. And so we're a big part of that, and our community contributes, but we have to be able to provide the safe space in order to take those donations. So that's what we do.
Well, and then let me ask you this. So with what you just said, and also the pandemic and everything, because you guys are always on the front lines, and you have been for, I mean, how many years? How many has the Red Cross? What is it, like 100, 150?
Well over 140 years.
Okay.
Well over 140 years. And in the Omaha metro area, we celebrated our 100-year anniversary in 2016.
Yeah. And so you're helping so many during these times. But how can people help you? Because you're needing blood donations, you're needing things from the community. So let's just talk a little bit about that.
Well, I'm really glad you asked, because, we often smile and say, well, we don't ask for one thing, we ask for many things, but you can pick and choose what works for you, your comfort level, and your family. We always can use volunteers, and we always ask, we provide a safe environment, whether it be in a virtual setting, but if you're really looking for and feel comfortable, we have blood donor ambassadors, so always recruiting volunteers that we want to engage in every community across the nation, but particularly in our viewing area. And then also looking at training those volunteers appropriately to do the work that we do. But then also it's donation of blood, So that's a big thing. But we also have a call out to get trained in CPR, get trained. My entry into the Red Cross was I became a lifeguard, and that was a big lifelong love of mine. And that's a big part of my Red Cross story. And then also knowing that our volunteers also serve our military members and make comfort and care calls to them as well. So we have a real wide breadth of what we do. And in order to be able to deliver the services, of course, we always ask, we have to balance out mission and margin. So we do ask for community support. We're not a government agency, which most people think we are. We're not. We are funded by the generosity of the American public.
Yeah, I think is so important for people to know as well, is donations to the American Red Cross are, just really important. So typically this year, okay, you have your Heartland, your Heroes of the Heartland event that happens right now. So you're not doing that in person. Am I correct in saying that? Okay.
Last year, this event in person, with the governor being at that time our honorary chairman, that was our last elbow bumping event. And then boom, here we are. Welcome to my home office. Learning to really be effective in a different type of world. It affects everybody in different ways. And so we're having a virtual event this year, which we're very, very excited for, because it really helps us expand sharing our story and what we do. It's a really great opportunity for us. And it's actually gonna happen.
and it's actually on the day that this airs, it's happening today.
Yes.
So one of the things I wanted to talk about that we just chatted about before we hit record is when you talk about Heroes in the Heartland and Heroes in the Heartland related to the American Red Cross, what kind of families or who are you looking for? Because people are nominating people. So let's look about what's going to happen in the next year. So how can people nominate somebody?
I'm so glad you're asking, because we do take nominations all year round. We always are looking for inspiring stories, but it is our public, our community's members stepping forward and nominating those heroes in their lives. So it's personally asking yourself, so Andy, what do you think of as a hero? And your definition of a hero, because of your life experience, may be a little different than my experience. So what we're finding is a real wide swath of conversation around the amazing heroes during this pandemic time. Whether it be, we've had conversations around our healthcare workers, around our truck drivers, around our grocery store workers, and of course, tried and true for all of us are our public servants that are always willing to step up and in the call of duty to make our communities safe. So we have some really amazing 4 good stories this year that we're excited to tell.
Yeah. And so can people, after the event, can people go to your website and learn more about those people?
Yes, they can. And we will also, we're actually if you connect to our social media, which we have Red Cross, Facebook social media, we have an Instagram social media, we have a Twitter social media. We'll actually show and put our videos on those platforms so people can see those stories.
Yeah.
The stories coming
out. Last question. If someone wants to volunteer, give blood, donate financially, where do they go?
So go to redcross.org and you type in your zip code and it brings you to your local Red Cross office. Or if the website is, you're tired of being online, you can call 1-800-RED CROSS and you can connect to all of us. And we are welcome anybody into the Red Cross family. It is really for us to celebrate March is Red Cross Month, and it really imbibes the whole foundational American principle, and I love this, and I just have to read it. It is that principle of the duty to care, the duty of care we owe each other in times of crisis and when things get tough. And that's what we do. And that's what we talked about at the beginning.
Yeah, absolutely. Jill, again, thank you so much for taking the time to join me today and talk about the American Red Cross, and all the important things that you do and that you continue to do 24/7, 365 throughout the year. It's amazing. But we kind of look at, sometimes focus in on these challenging times. But again, March is Red Cross Awareness Month, so encourage everybody to go find out more about how they can contribute. So Jill, thank you so much.
Thanks, Sandy, for having me here today.
And folks, we'll be right back.